Finding the right lens for your Sony FX30 can be a daunting task. With so many options available, it really is difficult to decide what's best for you. From wide-angle lenses to telephoto lenses, with everything in between, with the help of this video, you can be sure to find a lens for your camera to help you on your creative pursuits. Hey fam, mga kapatid, I'm Mike, nurse photographer and videographer, and my first go-to lens for the Sony FX30 or any Sony aps-c cameras are these lenses, the 16mm, 30mm, and 56mm. And if you're looking for a fast and convenient zoom lens, the Sigma 18 to 50mm is one to look at. Okay, that's it. Done with the video. Joke lang. At this point, I have the 30mm since I sold off my 16mm, but based on my experience with both of these lenses, they're all fast at f1.4, which is beneficial in low light, producing more bokeh, sharp images, yet for an affordable price. Generally, I recommend having a zoom and prime lens for most people. For all-around shooting, consider the 18 to 50mm for the image quality, the constant aperture of f2.8, and all for its price. Then for the prime lens, choose your preferred focal length. The Sigma 16mm for a wide angle, similar to the framing of an average smartphone. The Sigma 30mm for medium shots like everyday life or portraits. Or you can go all in on the Sigma 56mm f1.4 if you're looking to get detailed and pleasing portrait shots. Let me reassure you that for the average photo video shooter, you're covered with these lenses. Even if you just pick the Sigma 18 to 50mm, you can shoot a whole wedding, a whole travel vlog, and even everyday life with that lens alone if you wanted to. I personally haven't tried the specific lens because I'm using the 16 to 55mm. I'll tell you more about that later. But an easy way to get good looks out of your videos or even travel photos is covering your wide, medium, and telephoto lenses, which are all in this one lens. Now, before giving Amazon your credit card information for these lenses, you may want to consider swapping out a zoom lens or prime lens of your choice when I tell you more about these other special lenses, like the Tokina 11 to 18mm f2.8. I was able to pick up this ultra-wide lens for $399 on Black Friday, and I decided to sell off my Sigma 16mm for this lens for the versatility of zooming in and out, which is advantageous for my setup here, which I can still present with a wide angle look, be able to zoom in and exclude all this extra stuff around me. If you're looking for an ultra-wide lens to be able to keep the camera closer to you for something like vlogging, or maybe even shoot real estate photos and videos, this is the lens to consider. Next up, the Sony 18 to 105G lens. This lens is an OG lens, one of the first lenses to come out for the Sony aps-c cameras, and I love it. Although many people lust after fast lenses at f2.8, this lens is not bad at all. As someone who is guilty for zooming into the farthest end of this lens, I have no complaints about this being f4, especially in daylight. I have used this for indoors for church at f4 with shutter speeds of 1/50 and ISO at 2500, the native ISO for the FX30. It still looks good to me. This may not be the sharpest lens on the block, but with a full frame focal equivalent of 24 to 157mm, to me this is still one of the best overall lenses to shoot with. As an alternative, if you still want an f2.8 lens but want a similar kind of reach, consider the Tamron 17 to 70mm f2.8. It's weather sealed at multiple points of the lens's body. It's got a similar full frame equivalent of 24 to 105mm, but just keep in mind that unlike the 18 to 105mm, the lens barrel does not extend. It's just a plus when your lens barrel doesn't extend and redistributes weight unevenly on your gimbal. Alright, here we are, the Sony 16 to 55mm f2.8 G lens. At $1,400, I don't recommend this lens whatsoever unless you got extra money lying around. Otherwise, if you're like me and are able to find this for half the price on eBay in great condition, then it's worth a second look. Similar to the Sigma 18 to 50, you have most of your needed angles covered in this one lens. But it also has superior weather sealing throughout the lens, has an AF/MF switch, as well as a button on the side. For the original price tag, it's definitely sharp and has other desirable image qualities from it. The only reason why I didn't buy the Sigma 18 to 50mm over this lens was just because of the weather sealing. Call me irrational, but although no one has complained about the quality of the Sigma 18 to 50mm, I was just conscientious of my past experience with the praised Sigma 24 to 70mm f2.8 for full frame Sony cameras. It was a much more affordable medium range zoom lens compared to Sony's G Master version. However, it didn't take long before you started to see dust inside, and I wasn't going to spend extra money often be able to send it in and have them clean it out. It's not a big deal if you're shooting wide open at f2.8, but I just don't want to go through that kind of experience again. So between the Sigma 18-50, the Sony 16-55, and the Tamron 17-7T, the Sigma is the least weather sealed. It's still great value, but in the zoom range category, I'm personally at peace with the Sony version. If you're looking for a more unique look, consider the Sirui 35mm f1.8 anamorphic lens. It is an amazing lens that is perfect for any Sony FX30 shooter looking to get that natural cinematic look with its f1.8 aperture and 1.33 squeeze. Its 35mm focal length is great for capturing medium angles, but if you end up getting diopters for this lens, you can also maximize getting close up since the minimum focus distance with this lens is around 2 feet. Link in the description for the ones I use. Just note that unless you're de-squeezing this footage with an external monitor, you will be seeing a weird stretch in your LCD screen. But no worries, you can still film like this and have a good idea of what you're shooting. Then when you get to your computer, you can de-squeeze this in your video editing software. I'll be making a short about it, so stay tuned for that. If you're concerned with how easy it is to spend hundreds of dollars on these lenses, have no fear, because there are still some lenses out there for less than $200. Like the Helios 58mm f2.0. Adding to the list of manual lenses to consider, this is a very popular lens known for its swirly bokeh. For $69, you're getting nearly an 85mm full frame equivalent lens on your FX30, which is pretty telephoto, ideal for portraits and close-ups. Something to note though that I haven't heard before about this lens is that this particular focus ring is kind of stiff. It may be just my copy of this lens, but anyway, I'm still able to use it for photo and video. Another lens of similar focal length is the 7 Artisan 60mm f2.8 macro lens. This is a perfect budget macro lens for capturing stunning close-up shots if you don't mind manual focus. It has a minimum focus distance of just 0.2 meters, making it ideal for highlighting details that would easily be overlooked. With its lightweight design and great build quality for $169, this lens is an easy yes for any Sony FX30 shooter. By the way, let me know down in the comments section if you want to see a particular video on any of these lenses that I've shown, because let me tell you, it's a great time to be in the Sony ecosystem with all these choices of lenses, which can easily eat up your budget. Keep this in mind because you probably still need to buy lights if you're conscientious with your low light shooting. Click here to see the lights that I've been using for my videos, and click over here for FX30 related content. Thanks again for watching. Now go out there and shoot for the life that matters. See ya!